5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
It's July 3rd, 2019, and welcome to the first official episode of THEPAD, PlasticMoon.net's video game podcast. I'm joined by Cash.
Hello.
And I'm also joined by Matty.
Good evening.
And of course, I'm Ben. I forgot to introduce myself, so that's a good start. I'm saying this is the first episode, but we did one last week, but I very much call that the pilot because it was a case of we're doing it for the first time, making sure there was no technical disasters.
You listen back to it, you think, do we sound that bad? Can we keep doing this every week? I think we just about passed. So yeah.
Well, I suppose we can't escape it. We're stuck like this. It's just whether other people want to continue on.
Absolutely.
Week 2 of the first full official episode. So thanks very much for joining us. We're going to talk a little bit about what we've been playing lately, the latest news, goings-ons around video games. They're all right. I think we can all agree that they're all right. Really, it's a bit of a time sink. Matty, last week we talked about what you were playing, and you did not disappoint me with your Luigi's Mansion. Retro stint.
The classics.
So have you hoovered up all those ghosts?
Oh that was all done last week. My time right now is entirely consumed by Assassin's Creed.
You did say you were doing that as well.
Doing for all the achievements and all the side quests and stuff.
I'm doing every single thing I come across, and it's enjoyable, but it's also exhausting. And it's the map. The map is so big; it's so much bigger than last year's. Well, the one before that. You see, I'm zoomed in within like a region of a map, and it's got several, over a dozen map pointers and quests. You zoom out, and there's more. And I try to clear an area, and then I'll zoom out once more and realize, oh, for God's sake! Like it's genuinely quite. I don't understand how anyone could play this game who had kids or anything, because it's just a complete time sink. But it's fun. It really is. It's
that's what we're there for, isn't it? Absolutely.
Do you not think it's that kind of game though? It's the type of the people who are casual gamers who have kids. This will probably be the only game they buy all year.
Yeah, it would last. It would last, longer than a year, I think. But it's the kind of game that if I put down, I'll never get back to it. So I'm completely just focused on that. I do have like a backlog of games I'm trying to find time to play after this, but
more power to you, man. I remember the last one I played fully was Black Flag, and I don't know how this is in comparison to that, but from what I looked at, what I saw, the size of the map was the same, but Black Flag was just kind of water everywhere. This is like
it's
physical land.
It's a bit more dense in terms of what there is around. But if you haven't played Assassin's Creed since then, it is quite different now. The combat's very much.
I think we said last week as well.
Yeah, well, the combat is very much Dark Souls inspired, but without the ridiculous punishment of that. So,
how are you enjoying the story? Because I've heard
it's picking up as it goes along. I mean, when I first started playing the game, I was kind of a little bit of deja vu after putting dozens of hours into Origins. I would say the story hasn't gripped me the same way Origins did, but it's getting better. Because you get a choice of two characters, either the male character Alexios or the female Cassandra. And I'm playing as Cassandra. Yeah, her character's
quite a sensible choice.
Absolutely. Is there any difference between them, or is it literally just gender swap?
I think it's, without spoiling anything, in terms of the story, I think it literally is just a swap.
I think it's more their character, isn't it? I hear that Alexios is a bit of a dude bro, like bit of a fucking idiot, whereas Cassandra is more like the typical Assassin's Creed hero.
She gives me a very powerful Wonder Woman vibe, like because she's like an almost Grecian princess and
because she's an
muscular and busty, and she's got a shield and all that shit, man. Yeah.
Yeah, she's like I say, the story's not as interesting as last year's. Last year's the game that was the year before Origins, but it's not bad. It is picking up, and I am getting sucked into the gameplay loop again because it is fun. Like I say, the combat's brilliant. The world design itself is it's dense, and doing all the side quests is repetitive, but it's no, I'm enjoying it.
It doesn't sound like you are.
I am. It's just
We're not
I don't really have.
representatives of Ubisoft, you know. It's fine. You can be really honest with us.
The thing is, it's just these types of games. I try to minimize how many of them I play because
I mean that's sensible because they take so much of your time. Yeah.
Yeah, and
you
it
also
just
say that though, mate. But this is also the game that you started playing right after having finished Origins.
I completed Origins about a year back, but yeah.
Oh,
it
sorry, I
feels
thought
like
you just played it and then carried
Oh
straight on with it.
no. But it's just a case of if every game was like this, it wouldn't be fun. But every once in a while, I'll put something in like this. It's the reason I haven't got around to playing The Witcher yet because I just look at it and go, oh, "Fuck's sake,"
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I've not played Origins or Odyssey, so I can't really comment. But I definitely have played The Witcher a lot, and even I felt as good as that is a game that definitely outstayed its welcome.
Yeah, like I say, it's just a case of time,
I think that's good. That's the enemy of us all, especially at the age we are now, where like obviously you've got different commitments and work and family and all the rest of it. Any game that soaks up your time. I've never been somebody who likes to just sit and play one thing and like that is the game I play. I've always been somebody who likes to play what's coming out, jump from game to game for a bit of variety, play it as much as I want to, and then move on. Some games grab me more than others and keep their hooks in me for longer, but generally speaking, that's how I go about. So
I think maybe 10, 15 years ago, I was very much, I'd get one game and I would play that game backwards. I would like find bugs completely by myself. I would kind of do speed runs all by myself. This is like before kind of games done quick was a thing. And then kind of more recently rather, when like you say, you have work, you have family, just can't dedicate that time anymore. So it just, the nature of it changes.
I mean, back then money was the factor, wasn't it? That's why you would get a game and just that would be the game. These days, as we get older, time is the factor, and it's not a case of.
It's the old meme, though, isn't it? It's like when you're a kid, you have all the time but no money. You're beholden to your parents. Then when you're an adult, you have the money but no time.
Yeah,
so bad.
So you've been hammering all the way through Odyssey, which not to get it mixed up with Origins. Have you been playing anything else?
No, I've had a few games arrive that I want to get around to playing, but honestly, it's going to be weeks.
Oh well, I look forward to your progress report next week. How about you, Cash? Yeah, you've been playing anything that's worth?
Yeah, so last week I mentioned I'm playing Ghost Recon, be playing more of that, enjoying that, getting into it a little bit more.
Playing solo
Ghost
still?
Recon, second, sorry?
Playing solo, or you got yourself a squad?
Playing solo for now. I don't need to. I don't need to sully the impression of the game I have right now. I don't need to think, oh, this game is shit because everybody online is a complete fucking dickhead. So I'm going to get to a point where I think I've peaked, and then I'll probably go online, and then I'll know for certain whether that's definitely the peak or if we can go even further.
Surely the people that are still playing it though are like
the dedicated ones. Yeah, I'm thinking that because it's maybe 2.5 years old now.
Yeah. I mean,
and it has been through a spate of sales and reductions recently. So I just think, yeah, absolutely. People are on there now, kind of taking it seriously, not going to be kind of knobheads. But yeah, at the moment,
knobheads.
I would probably be the knobhead in that group. So I'm still getting used to the mechanics and the gameplay, but I think I'm pretty much there. So you kind of, the map is split into different sectors, and each sector's got like a warlord, an overlord, and then those overlords have got their managers or their overlords, and then their overlords have got kind of the big boss. So I think every day or two, I'll kind of do one little bit of the map.
Is it a bit like Mercenaries, the old Xbox game?
Yeah, I didn't play much of it, but I think it has that same connotation. I'm trying to think. It's more almost like the Shadow of War, like Shadow of War or War for Mordor.
Shadow of Mordor,
Shadow of Mordor, and Shadow of War. Yeah, sorry.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Shadow of Mordor is the first one.
Shadow was the first one, and then
Shadow of War.
Shadow of War was the second one.
I always think that. Sorry to go off topic, but I always
That's
think that they're a weird series in that the first one kind of came out of nowhere. Was well in its build up. It's like a game nobody asked for, and like at the time when people were getting sick of Assassin's Creed, it was essentially Lord of the Rings Creed.
Yeah, that's what it was.
It didn't really excite anybody on that front. And as somebody who likes Lord of the Rings, it really did nothing for me from like a Lord of the Rings lore point of view. In fact, it shits all over it. And yet, it happened to be pretty fucking good. And yet the sequel seems to have come out being just more of a good thing. And yet everybody seemed to have just been like, don't care.
I think part of the reason is because the original one came out back in 2014, I think it was.
It was almost a launch title, yeah.
Yeah, or was it 2013? 2014 it would have been. And there wasn't really too much of a library back then, at least on the PlayStation 4,
I still remember it being a game I really enjoyed. Like, I don't remember just playing it. And
it was a good game. It just
I really liked the first one. It was the first game I platinum on the PlayStation. I really
I did the same. And I don't know why, but I'm not kind of talking as some kind of like, oh well, I played them, but I never played the second one. It never interested me at all. I always just find it weird that had such a critical and harsh reception when the first game was pretty well loved.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of hoo-ha with like the loot boxes and things. And I think that put a dampener on it, and they've taken that out now. And the end game was such a fucking grind, man.
I think the lore twisting went a bit too far with the sequel for my tastes. I was like, I could get on board with most of the first. Not anymore.
I thought the first one was really good with the lore. Like it's got almost nothing to do with the Hobbit or the Lord of the Rings, but it's definitely in the universe. It's set between the two, and it's its own little clique, and you could absolutely expect these things to happen. And then the second one's just like, don't worry about that. We're just gonna make our own shit up.
I think the trouble is because you're right. It doesn't interfere with those main properties, but it slots around them in such a way that I'm like, look, we know enough about what happened in this this part of the story that this didn't fucking happen. It's still bullshit. I would have much preferred them just kind of distance it.
Yeah.
But that's me fucking.
No, I could fully appreciate it. I like the. Again, I probably agree with you. I like the second one. I didn't platinum it. I didn't like it as much as I liked the first one. But I think it's still a solid game. I still had a lot of fun with it. It was just more of the same, and they expanded on the stuff that was good. I think you got a bit too repetitive with the the fortress takeovers. Like the first time you do it, or the first couple of times, you think, "Oh my god, this is fucking amazing," and then by the 15th time, you just like, oh my god! I just wish there was a shortcut just to get to the end or something.
Yeah, classic case of game outstaying its welcome. So sorry, I didn't mean to get it. That was just kind of something came to mind. But Ghost Recon is a bit like that. Then you've got like lieutenants and bosses.
Yeah. So the reason I drew that comparison was so to bring out the overlords or the kind of the bigger orcs in the Shadow of War and the Shadow of Mordor games. You kind of have to beat the underlings and then lure them out. And it's kind of the same here. You've got underlings here, but they're not randomly generated. They're all kind of very static. They've all got their own lore and everything situated. But you kind of beat a particular type or a few of a particular type, and then their head honcho comes out. And then if you beat enough head honchos, the big El Jefe comes out. And then you kind of, that's how you get on with it. That's how you finish the game. So that's kind of how I compare it. Or that's how I kind of look at it. It's almost like a Nemesis system. Just nowhere near as detailed as the Shadow of War, Shadow of Mordor games. So I'm doing like maybe one every day or every couple of days. So yeah, I'll probably be doing it for the next few weeks here and there. The other game I've been playing is Apex Legends Season 2. I had a quick fling on that.
I was gonna mention this. Season 2 started yesterday, 2nd. I'm gonna say. I just watched. They've just released a new trailer demonstrating the battle pass and what you get with it this season. And despite saying last week that, well, I bought the battle pass and was happy to because I'd already played Apex a shit ton and wanted to support Respawn, I was thinking, well, I'll probably not buy Season 2 because I haven't really been playing it that much. Not only do I fancy buying the battle pass again after this trailer, I'm kind of tempted to buy the deluxe version and just get the first 20 levels.
They've lured you in. They've got you on the hook, mate. I'll be honest with you, I haven't seen it because I just had a quick blast with my friend, and I was like, I'll probably play some more kind of this weekend or whatever. I just want to kind of try the new character.
we need to arrange a night when we can play it, and then go do it on stream together in
Let me
season
know,
2.
man. Let me know. I'm game.
There
Absolutely.
is a new caustic skin that looks fucking awesome. It's called
I've
the
seen it.
Crucible
Yeah,
of
I know
Darkness.
exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
It looks essentially like a Death Knight skin for him from Warcraft or some shit. It looks sweet. And there's also a really cool. God, I'm such a fucking dickhead. Getting involved with all this shit. There's a really fucking good skin for the R301 assault rifle, where it's like a fucking rhino on the front of it that blows smoke when you get a kill.
I just know how 12-year-olds feel now at school when they're talking about
Yeah.
Fortnite skins.
Very
It's
excited about all these
exactly the same.
stupid cosmetic bullshit things.
It's just completely that now.
Yeah, I'm considering it. But yeah, we definitely need to organize a night and get
I think
on.
once we have a game, me, you, and whoever else, and that'll probably make the decider for us whether we kind of get the pass. It will for me if I've got enough people playing on. I'll probably pick it up. So yeah, Apex Legends 2, and then the new PlayStation Plus game that came out. It was supposed to be Pro Evo 2019, which was nice, but that got quietly pulled. I'm assuming for licensing reasons, but it was replaced by Detroit Become Human instead, which I haven't played, and I was going to buy actually, and I'm glad I didn't. So, hey ho, Merry Christmas to me.
Well, it's honestly funny you mentioned this, because I was going to mention this as part of the news segment. You mentioned Pro Evo Soccer was going to be one of our PlayStation Plus games, along with a game called Horizon Chase Turbo, which I don't think anybody's ever heard of or really was that excited for. And I'm sorry if that's not the case and you are very excited for it. It's still available as part of PlayStation Plus. Go and download it, enjoy yourself. And you said, you kind of suggest there, you wonder if it was if Pro Evo was pulled and replaced by Detroit Become Human because of licensing. I think it's for a far more negative reason. I think there was such a shitstorm online about Pro Evo being the game that I think they've probably bumped up Detroit from next month
to this month, yeah.
To this month, and thought, you know what, fuck this, it's not worth the grief. What is quite good though, I mean, as a consumer, that's far better, because not only is Detroit a game that I'm far more interested in, and I would argue that people who are going to keep up to date with these PlayStation Plus games and all the rest of it are probably more into games, and as a result are less interested in football games.
Yeah.
Detroit Human seems like a far better pick, but not only that, rather than just Detroit Human, it's the digital deluxe edition, which comes with Heavy Rain and Beyond Two Souls. So you're pretty much getting the PS3 through PS4 David Cage collection. Now that might be a good thing, it might be a bad thing depending on how you feel about David Cage. But that's fucking good value.
That's very good value compared to Pro Evo. Absolutely, I'm not making any complaints, but I was quite happy with just how Pro Evo. I very rarely buy football games, but when I do get them, if they're free, like I remember, I think it was Pro Evo 2017 or 2018 was the last one. And it was on the PlayStation Plus as well. And I played it for a while and I had a lot of fun with it and it was absolutely fine. And again, these are kind of free games.
It's confusing though, because I think Pro Evo 2019 has like a free-to-play version.
It does. There's a Pro Evo 2019 Lite, but it's like 3 teams or some shit.
Free?
Yeah, exactly. And then
is that the version that we're giving away with Plus?
That's probably why they pulled it. I've already got the Heavy Rain and the Beyond Two Souls games, because they were on PlayStation Plus not too long ago either. Oh, were they? Am I making stuff up, or maybe I just bought them?
No, you're right. I remember them being on there.
Yeah, they were on there, weren't they?
Or not.
Yeah.
Either way,
it's good value. If you haven't got those games, it's absolutely the better deal, 100%. So I will probably get on that this weekend.
I mean, it's, if we don't know the reason why this changed, it could be for licensing. I think it's probably.
I have to guess it is the blowback from it, because it was there was a lot of negative reaction to it originally.
There really was. And it's weird because I don't really tend to feel too strongly about plus games, because I rarely play them. Because of that, that I like to keep on top of things and play things when they come out and all the rest of it. It does my bank balance no favors, but still. So I don't feel too strongly, but even I felt like that was a bit of a shitty month. So this is a good improvement, and what I think it's quite nice is it does it. Well, maybe I'm reading too much into it, but it kind of shows that Sony are open to listening to player feedback. I mean, they've already bent over and back down on the cross-platform play with a certain number of titles.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. I mean, the tagline's been for the players, and last generation, they was always up for kind of having cross-platform, and it was Microsoft and Xbox just saying, no, fuck that. And now that this generation, they're well in the lead. It was really strange for them to kind of take the same phase, take the same stance that Xbox were taking.
It's exactly because they're in the lead, though, isn't it? It's fine when you're the lead platform holder. You do not want to share your space with others.
Absolutely, you make all the rules, but it's you can't have the tagline for all the players and just fuck the players over like that. It's just not good.
Yeah,
but I mean, it's not even crossplay for everything. It's always, I think, Rocket League and Fortnite are the two that I couldn't think of the top of my head.
Dauntless, the Monster Hunter is crossplay between Xbox and PC with PlayStation.
Wow. So it's good. I mean, this, if anything, we get the better outcome of it. This is all good competition. This is all very good for the consumers.
Oh, completely. I mean, the best thing that could happen for us going to next generation is Xbox be a lot stronger than they have been this generation.
100%.
Yeah, have them neck to neck. You know, that's the best way to do it.
I remember when last gen PlayStation released PlayStation Plus, and as part of it, you were getting the free games, and Xbox, you had to pay for the Xbox Live Online. But you got a free games, and they quickly changed that. They very quickly fucking changed that.
Yep.
It's stuff like that is better for the consumers, and it's all about competition and pushing each other as far as you can go. So yeah, I am hoping Xbox do the same next gen, and they kind of pull it out of the bag.
Yeah. Cool.
What about you, Mr. Ben, Mr. Plastic Moon himself?
So I've again, like yourselves, probably not played a whole lot of new stuff since last week. I've mainly been playing Final Fantasy XIV Shadowbringers. It hit early access on Friday, the 28th of June. And
can I ask, how long was the queue to get in?
The biggest queue was 420 people, which took me about 10 minutes to get in. So not too bad.
So you didn't get DDoS too hard then?
Well, you know what? This has been probably the smoothest launch of an MMO thing I've ever seen. Apparently there was a DDoS attack and it lasted it pulled the game down for 5 minutes, literal 5 minutes on Friday. And I was at work when it happened, so it didn't even bother me. It has been unbelievably smooth. The worst part of it at the moment is that as a tank player, I normally have instant access to dungeons because tanks are rare. Because there's a new tank class as part of the expansion pack, there's a lot of tanks around at the moment, and I'm having to wait about 5 minutes to get a group. It's terrible. I feel like a second-class citizen all of a sudden. So I've kind of been jumping between like leveling up my main job through the new content and jumping back and playing the new Gunbreaker class, which is the new tank. Effectively, is just it's a take on Squall and his Gunblade from Final Fantasy VIII. It's a really fucking cool class. It's a tank class that has abilities more akin to a melee damage dealing class, which have got far more intricate ability rotations.
That just sounds really cool.
It looks sweet. It just looks cool as hell. So yeah, I've been playing a shit ton of that. The new level cap's 80. I'm 74 with my top character, top class, job, whatever you want to call it. I'm probably about a third of the way through the story. So like Final Fantasy XIV is weird in that it's an MMO. You have a character that you level up, but really your progress is more dictated by the main story quest. It's heavy on story and characters, and over the years it's kind of gone up. It's had its ups and downs. Like if you play the base game of Realm Reborn, it's pretty rough by today's standards. Heaven's Ward gets a lot better and is probably the best story content up until Shadowbringers came out. And then Stormblood, which was the expansion that came out 2 years ago, that story had a lot of promise and never really lived up to it, but it did deliver on the gameplay front. And Stormbringers, I keep saying Stormblood and Shadowblood, and I keep getting them two mixed up. Shadowbringers seems to capitalize on how good the gameplay was in Stormblood and bring back how good the story was in Heaven's Ward. I'd say, even though I'm only a third in, this is probably the best written and most interesting the story's ever been, and feels far more akin to a mainline Final Fantasy game than it has up until now. I've not got a lot bad to say about this. I'm pretty fucking enjoying it.
Really enjoying it then. That's good. How does it compare to... Because I see you play... How do you play Skyrim online? Like in terms of story and...
Oh, yeah, so... yeah.
Well, yeah. Elder Scrolls Online, rather, sorry.
We're going to get Skyrim 2 one day. Um, um, it's different because like ESO is more like Skyrim and Oblivion and all those where you kind of just go around talking to people. They kind of face you in a first person view and you select dialogue options. This is more like cutscenes playing out, and occasionally you get dialogue options. In fact, the dialogue options are far bigger and greater in this one. And it's weird because it's never really been I mean, you've had the odd dialogue option, but they've never really been like different before now. And now they've got a completely new interface for dialogue options. It's like this. Before it used to be like this little bubble that would pop up and you'd pick an option. Now it's like this whole kind of subtitle bar interface. It kind of goes into this weird cinematic mode, and it says like, which dialogue option do you want to pick? And the options kind of range from like neutral to like friendly or heroic. And then there's usually an option where you're just a complete dick. I'm kind of like I've not had the opportunity to be a dick to people up until now. Fucking 2.5 years into this character, it feels awkward to start being a dick to people. It's weird, but yeah, all the central cast are very well written. There's a lot of humor and a lot of sharp writing, like a lot of callbacks to funny little memes and stuff, but without being memey in itself. It's more just like little nice character moments between them. It's weird because the overall theme of this expansion pack is you're in an alternative version of your world. That's effectively like it's post-apocalyptic, basically. Like effectively, angels have destroyed the world, to paraphrase what's going on, and you're brought in to try and fight back against it and save like this last slither of land where humans can still live. And like unravel like what can you even do against these angels? Because when you kill one, they effectively just respawn again. They're made out of pure magical light, and you can't really get rid of them. Yeah, there's just loads of interesting things. There's like this on top of all that shit. There's like this weird city state that has this tenuous alliance with the angels, and they don't like the fact that you're coming in to kind of disturb the peace and threaten their way of life. And you go to this
they've
city
got a good
and
thing going. They don't want to rock the boat so much. Okay.
yeah, and it's weird though because you go to this city to investigate what's going on, and it's like this weird like caste system where you've got the wealthy, powerful who just live a life like a hedonistic life of eating and drinking and living the good times, and this kind of slave caste underneath them. And it's like the rich people want patrons of the arts, so like yeah, they'll want somebody who can sing or somebody who can paint or entertain them or write great stories for them. And once that person like no longer has a use for them, or they get tired of them, or that person maybe rebels against them and no longer wants to be a slave, they kind of have this weird like they just disappear out of nowhere and nobody knows where they go. And like once people go into the city, no one ever leaves, but the population remains the same. People disappear without a trace and you don't know why. The leader of this city, who's come to power in recent times, who's got this weird alliance between the city and the angel faction, he's like this big Jabba the Hutt style character who has this weird like hold over things.
It's quite surprising that Final Fantasy has a lot of political tones in there. I mean, Final Fantasy 12 is very political.
Yeah, it is.
I know you've been kind of going through it. And Final Fantasy 15 was very political as well, even kind of with the magic of the monsters around it as well. So it's weird. I don't know why I wasn't expecting it, but when you talk about it, it's like, yeah, this is actually quite Final Fantasy. It does very well kind of the dichotomies of two different states or two different kind of political viewpoints.
But it's funny because I would say Shadowbringers is probably more akin to based one like 12 was. I would say Stormblood was probably the political one because that was effectively about rising up in rebellion and trying to break some city-states away from an empire. But the trouble with that is they sometimes fumble with the political stuff and they never really follow through with it. So Stormblood had a lot of potential and it just never really felt like it measured up to it. So Shadowbringers as this kind of more straight adventure on this bit of like, it's a blank slate of a world because it's a different world, completely separate from the rest of the baggage that we've had over the years. There's only you and your central cast there from your world. It's like a fresh take on it, and everything's great. Like the gameplay feels it's been trimmed down, but it's faster and more aggressive, which is a nice change of pace. I'm not hating it at all. Some people are complaining about it, saying it's a bit dumbed down, but I'm not finding that's the case. All the zones look amazing. They're all huge, gorgeous, and it's just honestly it's really, really good, and it's been a technically fantastic launch. So yeah, I'm generally just quite excited for it at the moment, and I'm looking forward to hitting max level and starting with the end game stuff, because so far the dungeons have been up there in terms of complexity and just I suppose how they're put together, the artistry and the themes of them, on par with the raids that we got on in Stormblood. It just feels like mechanics now, combat mechanics are very, very dense and complex, but so well signposted that it's not a chore. You don't have to prepare for fights to go in. You can just, as long as you understand what telegraphs mean, which you do just by playing the game, you can go in and play it first time and do okay. And I really like that, especially as a tank who generally has to set the pace of fights and merely has to watch videos to understand what I'm doing on things before I ever go in to do them.
Yeah.
It's really good. And if you've ever played Warcraft or anything like that, or in the mood for just a generally good RPG, I'd highly recommend it. I think you can sign up and play it to level 35 free these days, and I'm pretty sure if you do that, you can get the first expansion.
You get commissioned. You get like in-game gold if we join in.
God, I wish. I've got no money left at the moment. I'm really bad at spending my gil.
So yeah, Fantasy 14. You'll be playing it for a few weeks yet.
Yeah, so I'll probably be playing that for quite a long time. I'm really into it. On the side, something I did not expect myself to be playing: Dota Underlords.
What do you think?
What the hell is that?
I've given it a try,
So-
and I don't know what you think. I'm going to stay stum.
So, Matty, to answer your question of what the hell is Dota Underlords,
Yeah.
Valve's version of AutoChess.
Oh, right. Well, this is already confusing because I don't understand what AutoChess is.
Okay.
So you know the concept behind MOBAs like League of Legends and Dota.
Yeah.
So there is a spin-off of that called AutoChess, or like you say, Dota Underlords, where it's set in the same universe, but you don't take direct control of characters. It's much more RTS-y. You
Right.
pick between rounds. This is Dota Underlords. You pick one or two characters. You pick an ability, and then you go head-to-head against the computer in loot rounds, or you go against other players, and then based on your characters and their abilities, you win or lose, and depending if you lose health points, and it's kind of the last person to lose all the health points is the winner. The last team to lose the health points.
It's a weird mix of like card game, a strategy, and like drafting a team.
Yeah, in and amongst that, the drafting, it's like Football Manager almost in a way, because you'll have teams.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. Yeah,
you'll have characters that kind of share traits, and those traits can be used to advantage. So like two nature characters can level each other up. Two quite savage characters will do extra damage, or they'll give extra damage to everybody else. Or two tanky characters, if they're put on the same field together, they'll take much more damage off other people. And so it's all about finding that balance between offense and defense, and anticipating if you lost a round, what your previous opponent's setup was and what his setup was going to be next, and
managing your money on top of this.
Yeah. It's then you have to manage your money and buy new characters, sell your old ones. You don't have to kind of worry about leveling up your characters, but you level up, which gives you access to kind of more money and more problems, give you more characters available to choose from, and also more items and abilities as well. So this is something I think League of Legends did first, and now Valve's jumped on it.
Well, no, actually, the way I understand it was that AutoChess was a mod created for Dota by some guys recently. That took off in a major way. Valve reached out to them and thought, we're going to capitalize on this. We should work together. They came to an agreement that they did not want to work together. They did not agree on the artistic vision of AutoChess. So the AutoChess guys broke off and formed their own standalone game, which is, I'm just going to say it's called AutoChess.
I think it's called AutoChess, yeah.
It's AutoChess something or other, maybe. I don't know, but where they previously relied on Dota characters, which are rip-offs of Warcraft 3 characters in turn, they've got their own like art style and characters and things like that. And then Valve came out and said, well, we'll do our own AutoChess, which is Dota Underlords, which uses the Dota 2 character roster. And then you've got League of Legends and Riot going, oh shit, guys, we could get on this. And they've created Team Fight Tactics, which is another one. So there's like 3 big players in this AutoChess genre that spawned off a mod in the last like 6 months.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah,
weird fucking game.
it's been really crazy. It's been like, how quickly have they churned out those games as well? I used to think, fuck. And I mean, these are kind of. I mean, Dota Unlaws is in beta. It hasn't kind of been officially released yet. When you go in, it kind of quite clearly says this is like an early access. But to kind of what they've done at the moment in such a short space of time, I think that's really impressive. It's using the same engine, Source 2 and everything, but
Is it though? Because from what I hear, the model of the characters are not just a direct port from Dota 2. Weirdly enough, they're like recreation.
oh god, I don't know why.
I have no idea. But
Anyway, back to what I was saying. What do you think of it?
I don't know. I feel like in essence I should really like it. I feel like I'm really bad at it, and I don't like losing so badly.
That's exactly what I was about to say.
There's a shit ton going on in this game, man. Are you playing on PC?
I'm playing on PC.
So I've got it. Ironically, I'm playing it on. Started playing on my phone and thought, "Fuck me, I hate playing games on my phone. This is too small a screen. I've not even got a small phone. I've got an iPad, not an iPad, an iPhone. So it should be fine. But I found it a bit too fiddly. I didn't really understand what I was doing. So then I put on my iPad, thinking, "Oh, that'll be a bigger screen, and it's better." But now I'm in a case of I don't understand what's going on enough to keep up with the pace of the rounds.
Yeah, I keep
right old man.
playing. I keep doing the tutorial. I keep doing the bots, and it doesn't seem to be syncing. I must be doing something fundamentally wrong.
I think
Answers on a postcard, please. But I'm not having a good time right now. Is the honest answer.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of hit the nail on the head. Like, and I'll go over kind of how I understand the mechanics that work, because you mentioned them before, but you mentioned like every character you get, you see every round you get 5 characters in the shop that you can spend your money on, and every round your money gets topped up to varying degrees depending on your current situation. So you can buy the 5 characters that are in the shop and put them on your bench. You can press a button and spend 2 gold to re-roll the shop and see if you get anything better. So it's this weird thing of like every character has 2 classes, so like warrior and troll, or assassin and elemental, or something like that. I don't know. And there's like, I don't know, 20 classes of things. There's so many classes of things. So like say for trolls, I think I might be getting this wrong, but for trolls, every time you put a troll on your board, you get a kind of a notch in the troll buff passive. So if you put, say, I don't know, is Batrider a troll? I'm going to say Batrider's a troll.
Troll Warlord is a troll.
So Troll Warlord, if you put Troll Warlord on the board, you get 1 notch in the troll passive. You need, in order to get tier 1 of the troll passive bonus, you need 2 trolls. However, you can't put 2 Troll Warlords. It has to be a different troll.
Yep.
So
I learned that the hard way.
Yep. So that's one thing. So you try to stack different units of the same class in order to get passive bonuses to them units. On the flip side, every unit starts at a 1-star level. You can get up to 3 stars. In order to level up things through the levels, you need to buy duplicates of that unit. So Troll Warlord, if you buy 3 level 1 Troll Warlords from the shop, you get a level 2 Troll Warlord. If you then gather 3 level 2 Troll Warlords, you get a level 3 Troll Warlord, and he's the max. So it's this weird balance between trying to decide upon what classes to start buying of and start padding out your roster, and complement. Some classes will complement each other better than others, and while also buying duplicates to try and power up your individual unit.
Yeah.
And you've got limited space on your bench, so you can put things on your board, and the number of pieces, a number of characters you can put on your board to fight is limited by your level. I think with the max being 9.
Yes.
So once you hit level 9, I assume there's no point leveling up anymore. You can't level up anymore.
I don't think I've tried. I think I've got that far yet.
And you've got your bench, which is, I don't know, for argument's sake, say it's another 9 characters. So you can only have 18 characters in play and on your bench at any one time. So it's like this balancing act of keeping things, stacking classes, stacking duplicates to power up your classes, picking strong units as they come along and keeping them on your bench in hopes that you might get a chance to play them.
Yeah.
There's a tab that tracks your damage output per character, so you can see this guy over here is doing fucking nothing. Get rid of him. And what's quite nice is you can sell units for as much as you buy them for.
Yeah, there isn't kind of a window. So if you buy someone and 3 rounds later you think that was a bad buy, I'm going to sell it back. You're not losing really anything out. You get that same coin back.
Yeah,
and I like the card game analogy, but it's almost in reverse. You're building your deck as you go on rather than having it in mind of what you want. I mean, you can have a strategy, but if you don't get that role of characters, then you have to change it very quickly.
Yeah, it's a weird game, and I'm not very good at it. Some people
I agree. I'm going to play it a few more times. If you're on PC or if there's crossplay with the iPad, let me know. I don't know
there's crossplay because you can see a little icon just to show you what people are playing as.
I don't know if you can join me or something if it's still too early release yet, but it'd be good
You
to
should
get
be able
some.
to. I've seen some streams of people. I've reverted to watching fucking tutorials. I watched a 1.5 hour tutorial on how to play this game the other day, and I still don't know what's going on.
Yep, that's my fucking understanding as well. So hey, never mind.
I think you played quite a bit of Dota though, didn't you, Cash? Back in the day.
I think I've got about 2,000 hours worth of Dota.
So Jesus!
Just a few.
It does not help.
Well, no, I was thinking that you probably have one advantage over me in that you probably know what a lot of these characters do, because I think on top of just raw stats, every character has a special ability.
Yeah, they've got their own abilities. So yeah, okay. So I don't know what, because the Dota Unlords, they've only got kind of one of their 4 abilities or 5 abilities. So I don't know yet who has what or what characters are in there, but I'll know for example, who's a good one? Necrophos, the Death Prophet. I know he's got the ability that kind of heals his teammates, but then also kind of damages other people. He'll be very good to kind of have as an off healer. I'll know who kind of the range classes are, so I'll know to kind of keep them in the back, and I'll know who the tanky characters are, who they'll tend to be, so I'll keep an eye out for them. That kind of does help, but like you say, it's got the icons and it's got the grading system, so you'll know kind of what you're getting really.
I'm more thinking because I know there's a character called, is it Krunker, who seems to be a pirate or
Krunker, yeah. Oh, Krunker, I love Krunker.
And his fucking ability is he throws a ghost ship at people that seems to stun and slow people. And I was like, well, how the fuck was I supposed to know he did that? I mean, you can read it in game, and you can find out these things. But as I say, the matches go so quickly that I do not have time to read what Krunker does. I have missed 3 rounds and lost 20 health by the time I figure that out. I mean, you said you were playing with bots.
You've got no control of the abilities. It's all automated. You just need to manage.
Well, yeah, but
he is on the board and kind of enhance him, keep him tanky, keep him up until he can use his ability.
I suppose it's my issue with that is I have no idea that when I've Demon Knights and Elementals at level 3, a guy who looks like he's a sailor doesn't look impressive to me, but apparently he's fucking powerful as hell. So that's one thing I'm struggling with. I think looking at some of the videos I've been watching as well, I think I'd prefer to play on PC. The interface seems a little bit better. It's a little bit clunky on iOS or mobile as it is. I feel like you get less information, which is not helping me again. I feel like when I've watched PC, people are hovering mouse.
No, if you're watching an hour and a half tutorial, you don't get it. You need to be fucking told everything then, clearly.
Yeah, so it's fine. I might download it on PC and play it a little bit, see how I go.
So that sounded really harsh. I didn't mean to kind of say.
No, you're right.
I just think clearly, man, there's something wrong there. If it's,
I mean, I feel like I grasped.
Struggling, man.
I feel like I grasped the mechanics. I just can't. I don't know enough about the nuances of the game and the source material to draw from it quickly.
It's almost like a minute to learn and a lifetime to master. I think that's where I am with it.
And I think I've been doing it wrong in that I've been playing with real people and just jumping in and getting the shit kicked out of me.
I think I did it once, and I just got wiped. And I thought this is bad on my teammates. I need to go away and learn. So I've been doing a lot of bot battles, but they haven't been going as well as I've been hoping either.
What I was going to say as well is I'm playing on mobile. The games last far too long for a mobile game, like 40 minutes to play a game if you survive through to the
It's like a full game of Dota. It's ridiculous. I thought this was going to be quick. It's not at all.
I mean, from what I know about Dota, these games might actually last longer than an average Dota game these days. I get the impression they've condensed Dota into about half an hour, 20 minutes. I
haven't played for a while, but that makes sense because I know they've made a lot of changes since I used to play. And they've, like you said, they've had to refine it a lot more.
Yeah, so that I don't think this is a great mobile game to play with other people. However, bot battles really good on mobile because you can get so far through a bot battle, leave it, and come back, and the game will say, "Hey, you were halfway through this match. Do you want to start it up again?" and just carry on playing.
Yeah.
So that is a nice
And
feature.
you've got difficulties as well. You've got easy, medium, hard. So
I mean, easy feels hard to me at the moment. So,
I'm
but yeah, I mean,
I'm playing on normal, man. Don't say that. I'm getting my head kicked.
so yeah, a bit of Dota Unlords, just dabbling with that. Definitely mainly focused on Shadowbringers this week, probably for quite a while as well. Tempted by a few other things. I've been eyeing up Super Mario Maker, really trying to get at the core of whether I'm gonna get my money's worth out of that or not. I don't think I'm very creative, so I don't think I'll make much, which makes me think I'm probably not gonna bother. But hey ho, and I'm still really tempted by Bloodstained, that Castle.
Yeah, I've been holding off on getting that because of all the problems it's launched with.
Well, I held off because the PC, PS4, and I'm going to say Xbox 360, not 360. Fuck me. Xbox One versions came out 2-3 weeks ago. The Switch version was penciled for a week later, and I thought, you know what, this is a game I will probably play more on the go. I will hold off for the Switch version. Only to find out a week later, it is a piece of shit, and should not be played on the Switch.
Yeah. I've heard it needs a lot of work.
So I'm holding off. I am undecided, and I'm now at a point where I'm dabbling with Dota Underlords, and Apex Season 2 is out. So
yep.
I might have a play.
I definitely want to get around to playing Bloodstained, though. It does, apart from the even on the other console versions, a few bugs here and there. Once they're all sorted out, it does seem like a brilliant game.
I mean, how long have they been developing this then?
Since 2014 or something like that.
We'll put it this way:
ridiculous, man.
I mean, put it this way: they have cancelled a Wii U and Vita version in the time they took to develop it.
I wonder if those backers, like all three of them, got their money back.
I think they had to do a big campaign where they had to offer you an alternative, give you your money. I was reading a Reddit thread, and the one guy was like, "I've had the worst luck with this game. I backed it on Wii U, and it was cancelled. Opted for the Vita version, which was then cancelled. Opted for the Switch version, which is now broken." That's a poor guy. He's just not meant to play it. All right, guys. So I think that rounds out what we've been playing. Now, what do we want to move on to? I'm just thinking, is it rather than dip straight into the news, should we do something a little bit lighthearted? No, I tell you what, we'll go straight into the news. Because you kind of stole one of my news stories, Cash, with your mention of Detroit earlier. Some other, maybe again not news as such, but I thought it was a nice little feel-good story. So Spider-Man Far From Home is out. I'm going to say it was out yesterday. I actually went to see it last night.
Oh, please don't spoil it. Any good?
If you liked Homecoming, you'll like this. Tom Holland is really good in the part, and it's just more Spider-Man. Very little of it is set in New York. It's weird to see Spider-Man out in the wider world.
Yeah, not in the neighborhood, basically.
And not also on a sci-fi alien landscape. It's weird to see him in European cities. But it's fun. It's a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. Jake Gyllenhaal's really good in it. You'll like it. As an aside, I'm finding it hard to get as excited about Marvel movies now that Infinity War and Endgame have passed.
Yeah, I wonder what the kind of next phase and how they're going to hype it up, because, there's only Spider-Man Homecoming this year, and there's another one. What else has been announced?
Doctor Strange 2, Black Panther 2, Guardians 2. Volume 3, but that's quite a while away because of all the hoo-ha with James Gunn getting fired and then rehired.
Yep.
It's Black Widow solo movie.
Oh God, no! Please no.
I'm not too excited about that. Anyway, so off the back of that, so Spider-Man is fine. Go and see it. It's good. It's a solid Marvel film. Take that as you will. So we have the new Spider-Man movie. We had the pretty fucking great Spider-Man game last year. And the two have joined forces to give us two new Spider-Man outfits in this game. So Insomniac have kind of come out of nowhere and said, "Oh yeah, Spider-Man gets two new outfits in the new movie. We've put them in the game. Enjoy."
Yeah, it's good. It's really good to see that they're still supporting it, and it's a fantastic game. I borrowed it off my friend early this year, and I platinumed it I loved everything about it. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. So
Yeah,
this is good. This is good for people who still have the game.
Yeah, I mean,
Just to see that they're giving it support as well, so you could just. I'm sure there's plenty of people who just want to take the new suits out for a spin, just give it any excuse just to jump back in the game and swing about.
Yeah, and they look really good. So, I mean, his suits are he gets like a spy-like suit and a like a new version of his normal suit. Instead of red and blue, it's red and black. It's called the advanced suit. Looks pretty cool. And they're both in the game, which I thought was nice. It's a bit of a nothing story, but it's cool to see that they're still supporting because they already kind of pulled a good feel good news story around costumes in this game because they introduced the Tobey Maguire, Sam Raimi Spider-Man suit from the original movies into the game because everyone was like, well, that's actually a pretty good looking version of the suit. We wish it was in the game. And about around Christmas time after it came out, they were like, yeah, we've made that suit now and that's in the game. So it's cool. It's nothing. It's not good gameplay. It's nice little options to have. And I thought it was quite fun.
Yeah. Do you know if they have abilities, the suits? Because most of the other suits have.
I don't think so. I think they are just the standard.
Purely cosmetic. Yeah, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I think that's fine. So I thought that was nice.
Yeah.
So the next bit of news, probably not as quite, and again, it's probably not news. It's just something that came out and rubbed me up the wrong way. So I wanted to talk about it, and I don't know how strongly either of you will feel about this, but there's been a lot of stink around Pokemon Sword and Shield as of late. And the general stink is that it was revealed that quite a limited subset of Pokemon of the overall roster will be available in these. They've effectively got a local Pokédex to the Galar region, which is the region based on the UK that these games are going to be based in. What normally happens is either games tend to have everything in, or they will for that region, and then when you complete the campaign, it'll open up to the national Pokédex and have everything in. This isn't going to be the case. It's basically you're stuck with what you start with, and that's your lot. So there's been enough, obviously, like noise about this on the internet, where Game Freak have decided to like launch a little bit of a statement. It's basically there's been a statement from Mr. Junichi Masuda. I've butchered that name, from Game Freak, and he basically goes on to say, "Thank you for all your I cannot read. Thank you to all our fans for caring so deeply about Pokemon. Recently, I shared the news that some Pokemon cannot be transferred to Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield. I've read all of your comments and appreciate your love and passion for Pokemon.
Not all of them.
Not all of them. Just like all of you, we are passionate about Pokemon, and each and every one of them is very important to us. After so many years of developing the Pokemon video game, this was a very difficult decision for me. I'd like to make one thing clear: even if a specific Pokemon is not available in Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield, that does not mean it will not appear in future games. The world of Pokemon continues to evolve. The Galar region offers new Pokemon to encounter, trainers to battle, adventures to embark on. We are pouring our hearts into these games, and we hope you will look forward to joining us on this new journey." Okay, so this rubs me up the wrong way because it does not address the concerns at all. Basically, all it says is, we like Pokemon too. Don't worry, we're not going to,
Yeah, we're not going to get rid of Jigglypuff, and then that's it. Never going to see it again.
Yeah, it's basically implying that people's outrage is that they have like binned off like 2/3 of Pokemon that exist. That isn't the concern here. The issue is that all of a sudden people feel a lot more restricted than what they were led to. Well, what they had in
what they were expecting in previous games. See, I always thought this was going to happen eventually. I thought they keep adding so many Pokemon characters, and it's not just a static image or a moving character. You have to kind of, now they're animating most of the movesets or a lot of the movesets, and to do that nearly 1,000 times, that's a big ass, man. I imagine this was going to come sooner or later.
You say that, but Pokemon games are so far behind what they should be.
Yeah, I think the studio just sounds like it's way smaller and not competent enough for what it should be doing. You think the size of these games, the appeal they have, they're just. I feel like for the last 10 years, the games have barely evolved.
I mean, Pokemon is literally the biggest money-making franchise in the world by some margin.
Yeah.
And they cannot pump some love and affection into their mainline games. And because you said like they have to animate everything. I don't think that's true. For the last few, which have been 3D with like fully 3D models, the models have effectively been the same models since Sun and Moon. So it's like you had Pokemon Go, Sun and Moon, and then Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee. They all use the same base models, as far as I can tell. They just keep importing them into different different engines that use slightly different art styles. It's not like they're rebuilding all these Pokemon from scratch each time. And the movesets are no more animated than been for like as you say, Matty, the last 10 years. They are effectively every Pokemon has a little like shuffle animation that they do when they do a move, and then they move. The move itself has a self-contained
little,
static
yeah.
animation. So like Flamethrower will always look the same. It just Charizard does a slightly different shuffle to fucking Arcanine or something. Like it's not like Charizard has a Flamethrower animation, Arcanine has a different Flamethrower animation. It's all kind of modularized and broken up just to kind of give the illusion of this.
It's still putting all that effort into all those characters. I know on paper it may seem like that, and even when you say using the base model characters, I know you can import between engines, but it's all about optimizing and making sure they look good. It's a lot of work goes into it. I could totally understand it is disappointing. I mean, I haven't played a full Pokemon game for years and years and years and years, but I still got my favorite runs, and I'd be very, very upset if they, for some reason, weren't in the mainstream Pokemon game. So I do completely understand where people are coming from. But at the same time, the way that they were kind of churning out Pokemon, it was just a matter of time, man.
I think it for me, it's this. I mean, I probably sound a little bit more incredulous if you really care. Because I tend to buy the Pokemon games, but I don't always finish them. I think I like the idea of them more than I like playing them these days. But I think it's just a combination of there's two factors which kind of offset this a little bit and make it a bit shittier than otherwise. Pokemon makes more money than anything else in the world. You can hire developers. You could scale. I mean, Game Freak stands at about 200 members of staff or 200 active developers, and as a policy, they have said we don't want to grow any bigger. That's fine, but they've also said they have now split into two teams with their primary team new products and new franchises. So Pokemon's already a secondary concern for them. Hand it off to somebody who wants to do something with it, somebody who's willing to expand and do something special with that. Don't just hold onto it and strangle it until it's basically stuck in time with minor upgrades each time, and it's always frustrating.
It's like the Gran Turismo of I don't know, Nintendo. I don't understand it.
Yeah,
but
it's bizarre.
I think
where's the incentive for them? The games sell a shit ton. They don't want to, they don't want to change the amount of increase the number of developers or staff to have in the team.
Well, you're right.
I've always thought if they hit the button and they do like a fully MMO Pokemon with everything, that would be just incredible. But yeah, with 200 staff, it's probably not going to happen.
We can't even get like a full-on console-ified version of Pokemon. I mean, don't get me wrong, Sword and Shield look quite nice, but they are a baby step away from Sun and Moon that we got on the DS.
Yeah.
It's like people have got, oh my god, one part of the game which is like this overworld field with a 3D camera that follows us around. And I'm like, bitch, that's standard. It's been standard for 3 generations. It's so fair enough. It's just bizarre.
You're really upset by this, aren't you?
It's just frustrating because, as I say, I like the idea of Pokemon, probably more for nostalgia reasons than practical reasons these days. But I still will buy the game if it tickles my fancy. But I still burn out by the time I'm halfway through because they're just not following through on the potential. It's.
Do you still have your DSs, your old DSs? Would you transfer your old characters over? Is this really kind of that much of an issue for you, or is it just you wouldn't be able to find your favorite characters out in the wild anymore?
Well, I've got or had a Pokemon bank account at one point, and I put all my favorites in there on the proviso that one day I'd be able to transfer them in, which is the other thing I wanted to talk about. All of this is to the backdrop that at the same time as Sword and Shield got announced, or very close to it, they announced Pokemon Home, I think it's called, which is effectively Pokemon Bank for the new generation. Bring all your favorite Pokemon across all generations to Pokemon Home and have them transfer in every other game, except our new ones, which has a cut down Pokédex. it's bizarre. They're launching this one service to facilitate the fact that you can bring your same creatures across multiple generations and store them on effectively a cloud save system, and yet not letting you use them. It's.
I mean, how many Pokemons are there now altogether?
I'm going to say there's probably close to 1,000.
Yeah, it's just a lot of the articles are saying it's close to 1,000. So, gosh, I think I can still probably name the original 150. So I'm nowhere near where everybody else is now. I've got absolutely no idea.
Oh, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not fluent in Pokemon after Generation 2, but I know enough about them.
20 years since I knew anything about Pokemon.
So, as of Generation 8, with Sword and Shield, there will be around about 821 that we know about thus far, which is good.
There you
go. Yeah. So I think it was more just the message. It basically just glosses over the message of the statement.
It doesn't seem to address the problem. Yeah, I agree. It's like you're saying, nobody made the argument that they were cutting them out. It's just more the availability of them.
It's skirting around what people were getting pissy about.
Yeah, but as well, can I just say as well, they still release these Pokemon mainline games in like duos, right? You've got you've got Shield and Sword, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, that just seems a way of fleecing Pokemon diehards out of money as well, because certain Pokemon are limited, aren't they, to certain versions?
Oh yeah, but I mean, that's always been their gimmick. I'm not too angry about that, because that's always been their gimmick. Hey, link up with your friends and trade.
Yeah, it just seems weird to me that the format is still the same as it was back in, Red and Blue, and I don't know.
If it's not broken, Matty, don't fix it. If they're getting the money and
that's it. Well, that's it.
Franchises of all time.
Yeah, if they're getting the money, why would they give a shit? What 100%. About anything?
Yeah, I mean that's been the common thread amongst all these discussions. Is for all people complain, there is nothing to really compare to Pokemon or to really.
And everyone complaining will probably end up buying it anyway. So that
Yeah. I mean, Matty, like we're talking about the dual versions. This is the first time with Sword and Shield there is a special edition in which you get both games,
which are basically the same game with like maybe 1 or 2 Pokemon difference.
I mean, the only I think if me and my wife were going to go in on this, we could probably effectively it might be a cheaper version for us to buy that special edition than buy a copy each.
Yeah.
And we have in the more recent ones basically say, right, which one do you want, and then buy the opposite version from each other, and then never trade because neither of us get that far into it.
How is Pokemon still so big? Like, imagine
it's timeless. It's like Mickey Mouse and Disney. It's timeless. The characters that you can relate to when we were young, like the Pikachus and the Charmanders, they're still there. And
at least there was 150 back then, and we could at least work out 10%.
Oh yeah, but then for the child who's going to pick up the Sword and Shield for the first time, they're going to get their own quote unquote 150, and then that'll be kind of something for them. So
every 2 or 3 school years has its own generation of Pokemon, essentially.
I don't want to sound like I'm criticizing people who like Pokemon. I just don't understand how it's managed to be this big. Well, I mean, literally 20 years ago, it was the biggest thing going, wasn't it?
It's bigger than it's ever been. We literally got a fucking cinematic movie of Pokemon 2 months ago with Detective Pikachu.
I mean, did Mickey Mouse even have this amount of retention? I don't,
No, but
it's a different time.
I mean, I don't really want to talk about Kingdom Hearts on this podcast, but
oh god, no.
Let's not. Let's not do that. We already get sucked into enough black holes.
So go on then. Who's your favorite Pokemon, and why is it Haunter?
It's the tongue, isn't it?
Absolutely.
You got to get the, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm sure things exist on the internet around Horner and his tongue.
I'm not going to type rules out for that's what you're asking me to do.
I went to a Pokemon Center in Kyoto when I was in Japan, and it's effectively a shop with very expensive merchandise.
Did it make the noise? Do, 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 do.
No, and I'm very disappointed.
Fuck that, man.
They've got all sorts, man. It's fucking ridiculous. So like thing in Japan where there's a lot of like Shinto shrines and Buddhist temples, and most of the big ones have kind of like notebooks that you can buy, and they're weird. They're kind of like, if you imagine like God, I'm trying to. If you fold a bit of paper over and then fold it back against itself and create like a zigzag of paper,
Yeah,
they're kind of like
like
notebooks.
concertina almost.
Concertina, that's the word I'm looking for. It's these notebooks where they're like concertina notebooks, and so the two covers aren't connected, but the pages kind of concertina out of them. And these shrines, at most major shrines, have like a stamp. You can and the idea is there's a thing in Japan where you buy one of these and you go around like all the shrines in Japan and
Yes,
get them stamped.
I've heard of this.
The fucking Pokemon centers have them. They
Oh,
have
fuck.
Pokemon versions. So like so the one in Kyoto we went to. So Kyoto, I believe the area of where Kyoto is based is where Johto in Gold and Silver is based on. So all their store is very like Gen 2 based, which I loved. Seeing it's my favorite gen. And they've got like their stamp is like part of a picture with like Lugia and Ho-Oh in it for the legendaries of that. And then you can go to other Pokemon centers and they have like the other parts of this picture, and you go around and get all the stamps and it makes a complete picture. And I just thought this is a horrific corporate version of something that's apparently very sacred. But yeah, thought that was just a fun little factor to share. But yeah,
there we go. Feeling better?
Very good. I feel like it's probably a bit of we're in a period of slow news because we're post E3. It's summertime, not a lot comes out, so I don't know how interesting a lot of these news stories are. But the next one I've got on the list is Black Ops 4. First Call of Duty I bought since Advanced Warfare, I'm gonna say, and didn't play much of Advanced Warfare before I got very tired of it. So Black Ops 4 had a weird development. Call of Duty is still one of the few franchises that seems to do split screen multiplayer fairly regularly, and I thought part of the reason I thought this was interesting or of note is because I know Cash, me and you played quite well an afternoon's worth of Blackout, the battle royale mode in split screen on that, and we had lots of fun.
We didn't win, but we had lots of fun.
Some of the most fun I've had in Blackout. So there was an update to the game on June 25th, and all of a sudden players logged in to find that co-op split screen in Battle Royale Blackout was not in the game anymore. No mention of this in the patch notes, no mention of it in the build-up. It just kind of magically disappeared. Treyarch didn't really acknowledge it at first, and it's only kind of when Twitter and Reddit have slowly built up some noise around it that they came out and basically admitted like, it's been taken out, but only temporarily. Don't worry about it. It's coming back in soon.
That's all we've heard, isn't it? Yeah, just soon.
It's fucking weird.
I wonder what the issues are. I mean, I think it's well known that if you're doing a split screen, you're not going to get the same quality. But I don't think that was ever kind of a hurdle. I think everyone kind of assumed, it's going to be lower quality, but you're still playing with your friends. That more than makes up for it. So I wonder what kind of the issues were, whether there was maybe a hack or whether there was some kind of exploit, or maybe they just thought, we can make this so much better, but we need to redo it from the ground up. But then you just think, why wouldn't they kind of say it to the community? Because they're going to find out, man.
Oh, God, everybody. Yeah, it's weird. There's a bit of config in the game that's like split screen on or off, and somebody switched it off by mistake and pushed out the patch. It's weird. I'm sure games development is nowhere near as easy as that. But it's just weird. I just thought it was a weird thing, and played Blackout together, and I had a lot of fun. It just feels odd, and I suppose what it highlights as well is that there's still plenty of people who care about split screen because this garnered enough noise from people who use the feature to get noticed by the developers. Yeah. I mean, split screen always seems to be one of these weird things where I like it when it's there, but I don't know if I always miss it anymore.
I think it's good for kind of impromptu gaming if you have friends over and stuff. Like when I came over to your house and we played it, I mean, I don't think it was kind of with the cards. I think you just suggested when I got there, but it was like an afternoon of just kind of pure Blackout, and that was a lot of fun.
I think it kind of started of, hey, you should play Blackout, and I was just expecting to like put you on it and watch for a little bit, and like for you to try it because you'd played Battle Royales at that time, and I hadn't. It was the first one, but then it was like, hey, do split screen here. I was like, oh yeah, that might be like a good idea.
But yeah, even the zombie mode has split screen as well. I think zombie mode's unaffected, unless I'm mistaken.
I think pretty much, yeah. I think everything else was intact. It just seemed to be for Blackout primarily. I don't know. To be honest, I don't know how healthy Black Ops's player base is. I've not played it since about January now. Funny enough, since about the week before Apex came out. And my interest was waning quite significantly. In fact, when I first got the game, I played nothing but Blackout, the Battle Royale, and then slowly started to play more and more of the traditional multiplayer. I don't even think I've started Zombies yet, and don't think I ever will. It's weird. So I don't know. I've heard a lot of shit about Black Ops, and it feels like Activision have used it almost as a bit of a test bed to see how much shit they can cram into a game and get away with it. How many microtransactions, how many loot box mechanics, all that stuff they can cram into it and get away with it. Just to see how they will model future.
Well, yeah, because it was very much a departure from the status quo on Black Ops. Call of Duty. There's no story mode. They completely did that. It was completely multiplayer only.
Well, did you see that story that leaked? And having just remembered about it now, probably would be more interesting news story to talk about. But Jason Schreier at Kotaku, who is well known for leaking or breaking the story on a lot of conditions at various games developers, and going into detail on that. I think there was a lot of talk. He did a lot of the articles around Rockstar and Red Dead Redemption 2's development. I think back quite a few years ago now, he broke a story on the troubled development of Destiny when that came out and was a bit of a shit show. He's got a reputation for digging into stories like this and putting a real human face on the developer and the people rather than the company. But he broke a story about like the development of Black Ops 4. It was originally slated to have this kind of weirdly experimental 2v2 campaign, probably akin to something like what the original Titanfall had, where it's multiplayer based but campaign story driven, and effectively it was scrapped at the last minute. And this was in the wake of Black Ops 3 going through a similar thing where. So I never played Black Ops 3, but from what the article says, it's something along the lines of Black Ops 3 was going to be a bit different. It was going to have a world. Eventually, somebody high up said, this isn't very good. This isn't Call of Duty. People aren't going to like it. So they ripped the open world apart and salvaged it as a traditional single-player campaign for Call of Duty. Then there was promises made to the development teams. Look, we're not going to throw away your hard work for Black Ops 4. We're going to do it properly. They started developing this weird experimental 2v2 thing. Was crunched, put demos together for Christmas checkpoints and shown to Activision executives to meet the milestones. And then with about a year to go, it was scrapped. Didn't like it. Didn't give the Call of Duty feel. No time to put another campaign in. Oh, what do we do? Battle Royale's taken off. Let's do one of them. And it's called the article's on Kotaku, and it's called The Human Cost of Call of Duty 4 Black Ops, or Call of Duty Black Ops 4. Sorry, worth a read. Quite interesting, as much of Jason Schreier's stuff is. It just feels like Black Ops is maybe a bit of a shit show. It's weird because when it came out, it seemed quite positively received. It was positively received and interesting enough that I bought it for the Call of Duty for the first time in a long time. Yet seems to have had the biggest tail off of the franchise yet.
Yeah, they're always trying new things. I mean, you have to, because it's year-on-year releases. It's almost like a FIFA in its own right, and you can't just get away with a very simple roster change. There's got to be much more to it. Like this year is a callback to the Wonder Days of Modern Warfare 4, but it's called Modern Warfare. It's not kind of based in the same universe. It's based on its own little campaign, its own little world. So I mean that looks interesting because I really enjoyed Modern Warfare and Modern Warfare 2, and it seems to be taking the best bits from that. And again, that's what they kind of do. They test something out. Like I remember they tested Infinite Warfare, which I really liked actually.
Infinite Warfare seems to have been lambasted and generally disliked upon launch, but in years since, it seems to get looked back on for a
Quite
very
fondly.
favorable
Yeah.
campaign.
I really like the VR demo they put with that as well. That was really good. But yeah, and then I think the one after that was Black Ops 3, and again that kind of just was more in line with what we're expecting and what's been done before.
Yeah, it's not a franchise that excites me, generally speaking, and it's just it's a weird one, and I just think it just feels like it's a bit of a mess now that they're removing weird features without acknowledging it.
I remember when they had like Call of Duty Elite, where you'd have a monthly subscription to all your stats and all the games, and
oh god, yeah.
Gosh, it used to be a beast, and now it's nowhere near now, is it?
Well, I mean, it still is. It still sells gangbusters every year. It's just it's part of the zeitgeist as much. It's almost background noise. It feels like people buy it out of habit.
Yeah.
Like nobody talks about it anymore, and maybe it's an. But
I think I was saying like maybe this time last week is you get some casual gamers that'll just buy a FIFA and a Call of Duty, and that's it.
Yeah, it's safe. It's understood. I don't have to research and think about it too much.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Yep.
So yeah, that's that. I thought it was weird.
Call of Duty. There we go.
So final news story of the night. Google Stadia. We haven't really talked about Google Stadia, and
I think it's just not knowing other than the concept. I haven't really looked into it too much. I know I've seen some of the pricing. I've seen some of the first impressions. I've seen the requirements. The requirements are quite impressive. I know kind of On Live was almost last gen, and it needed a lot more juice than kind of what Google Stadia is offering. But then again, I suppose if anyone's going to do it with all that power, Google's going to get there. So maybe it's just more a description of where we are with technology and the capabilities.
It's a weird one. So I mean, kind of, it's coming out in November. You can buy the Founders Edition, which is a Chromecast Ultra, which lets you play in 4K. If your network connection can support that, it gives you a Midnight Blue. Is it called Midnight? A Night Blue Stadia controller. So Chromecast Ultra Stadia controller in blue for £119. You need at the moment you need a Stadia Pro subscription. The Founders Edition comes with the Chromecast, the controller, and a 3-month Pro subscription. The Pro subscription lets you get access to what does it do? So it unlocks the ability to play games at 4K 60 frames a second with HDR and 5.1 surround sound, but as far as I can tell, doesn't give you access to games. A growing library of games that are free as long as you are a Stadia Pro subscriber.
Yep. So as long as you got these, it's like PlayStation Now almost. As long as you got a subscription, you got access to all the games.
Yeah.
I think the appeal with this is, again, I haven't kept in touch with PlayStation Now, so I could be wrong, but this is kind of, you can go anywhere and have it. As long as you have access to a Chrome browser, you're in. You don't need to worry about having a setup or anything.
That's not true at launch, I don't think, is it? I thought it was only available through Chromecast originally, with the idea that it'll roll out other browsers in the future.
So that's the impression I got in the other day.
It seems very gradual, and to be fair, you do not need Xbox One controller. You can use most controllers that are available. You've got the Stadia Pro, which lets you go to, as I say, 4K 60 frames a second, HDR 5.1 surround sound. If you do not want to pay for the subscription, you basically have to purchase your games individually, and you are capped at 1080p and 60 frames a second with stereo sound.
Very nice.
So you can play in the Chrome browser on any computer, 3 or 3A phone, with plans to expand Google Stadia to other mobile phones in the future. So yeah, you can. So Chromecast or Chrome browser on Windows PC. I'm assuming Windows. And
the other thing I've heard as well is, for example, Destiny. It's not cross-play with PC. You're just going to play with the same Google Stadia players.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, what you do if you're part of Stadia Pro, you get Destiny. I know Destiny's going free to play in September, but you still have to buy expansion packs. But if you play with Stadia, you get everything, including Shadowkeep, which is the new expansion pack in September. So it seems like a potentially decent thing. But again, yeah, as you say, Destiny, when it goes free to play, is getting cross cross-platform saves, but not cross-platform matchmaking, which is maybe something they'll do in the future, at least for the PvE stuff, surely. But yeah, so I mean that's the kind of the rundown for Stadia. Now I've just got a chart up in front of me here. If you want to do 720p video at 60 frames with stereo, you need as little as 5 megabytes a second. You need 10 ideally. If you want to bump that up to full HD at 1080p with HDR and surround sound, you need 20. And if you want the full-blown 4K with all the bells and whistles, you need 35. It doesn't say whether that's download or upload.
It'll probably be download. I don't think many people have thought upload. I mean,
well, that's what I was going to say. Like, I've got a pretty good internet connection, and I think it's out at about 25 upload at a good when it's going well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I've got a pretty good connection, but most of my wireless devices very rarely get more than kind of 40, 50. So I mean, I'm kind of in the top end. But I imagine the Chromecast that they're going to supply with it is going to be using the better frequencies to kind of get the better rate and things like that. And also, it'll depend on kind of what other devices you have and what else is going on and things. So, yeah.
I mean, so I think Matty, you were saying before the podcast started is that you're fairly skeptical about Google Stadia.
Well, yeah, he's speechless, as you can tell.
Oh, he's just dropped.
You've obviously upset him. Well, Matty, if you can hear us. Oh.
Are you back?
I think I am. There I am.
Hey,
sorry. I was talking to myself for about 5 minutes.
Google Stadia.
I was thinking quiet, so I was going to say
no.
You were saying before the podcast you're quite skeptical about this.
Quite skeptical? I'm very fucking skeptical. First of all, who is this for, right? Who is this for? Because if anyone plays video games with any amount of seriousness, right, a dedicated console or PC is going to be infinitely better than a streaming service. Technology has not got anywhere near a point where input lag, where variable bit rates and resolutions and audio qualities can be dealt with. Not only that, if you are living in a country like the United States where bandwidth is a problem, then good luck playing more than 10 minutes of this game a year. Or this service a year, because it's going to demand a lot of bandwidth. So
yeah, I know exactly.
I don't get who it's for. Not only this, but as a value proposition, it's not really like it's games are going to be cheaper on this service. It's an inferior product for what essentially
quite all the time you were preparing this little.
No, it's my headset. Right, but.
I mean,
you have a limited game library. You have less people to play with because all your friends are playing other consoles or on a PC.
Yeah.
Well, I think they will be in November. Is that going to be the case in November 2020?
But it just, I mean, I'm not interested in a streaming service at all. But surely Xbox would at least be the better option because then you have a choice of, okay, play local on your Xbox, and then when you're having a shit or when you're at work or something, then you can stream it. But
I mean, yeah, we've always seen that first to market generally seems to win out in a lot of these cases.
It does, but I'm calling this right now. This thing will flop. This thing will not take off because they have done nothing to suggest that this is a step up from what is available. Technology has to advance. This is not advancing. This is more inconvenience.
I mean, I suppose I kind of agree. Stadia, it has no games that are exclusive. Even the games that they've said like, oh, this is coming to Stadia, it tends to be framed as it's coming to Stadia first rather than only.
Yeah, and their big thing was Destiny 2, a game that, well, you know, besides expansions, you can buy this game for about what, £3 now or something.
I mean, to be honest, you could probably buy Destiny 2, all the expansions, pre-order Shadow for the price of a full, like a 50, say for 50 quid, I bet.
Yeah.
You know, so
and you'd be able to play with your friends who already have Destiny on the PlayStation or on the PC.
I mean, here's the thing, though. You know, we mentioned our edge cases. The man who buys FIFA and Call of Duty every year. If I'm that person, I do not have to buy a PlayStation 5 for £500, an Xbox One for £500, or a PC for probably more again. I don't have to fuck around with anything. I can literally spend £10 a month, and as a grown adult with a job and an income who spends that much on Netflix a month, I can get those games at 4K, 60 frames a second,
providing your internet connection as well.
Well, I mean, we've all kind of said that we have. I think for America, you're right. That's going to be a bigger problem. I think for Europe, it's less of a problem. And Britain, as much as our fucking internet infrastructure isn't great, it's better than a lot of places. It's not as good as it should be, but it's better than it could be.
It's not America.
I can see this having fringe cases. I mean, one of the I can't remember where I heard it or where I read it, but one of the things is Cyberpunk going to be on Stadia. My PC is not going to run Cyberpunk anywhere near as good as a PlayStation or an Xbox. The PlayStation and Xbox are not going to run it anywhere near as good as a high-end PC. I don't have anywhere to run a maxed out Cyberpunk, but I could subscribe to Stadia or buy it on Stadia and have that full experience.
Yeah. To play devil's advocate, it does give people that avenue at kind of a fraction of the price, and I think
it does.
There will always be kind of a hardware need for consoles, like for example Switch and on the go, and for people who want to kind of just sit in their indoors and on their favorite TV or their favorite couch and playing games. But I think this is kind of another avenue, another stream of gaming, and it should open the doors, and it should kind of
it could open doors, but I feel like it could also cause problems. I mean, I've mentioned the first two things, which are bitrate variability, and also the fact that the big thing for me is this is all streaming, meaning that this is a nightmare scenario, but this is entirely feasible, is that you purchase a game, a license agreement falls through, you can no longer stream that game. And you don't own it, you can't download it, it's gone.
I mean, that happens anyway. I bought
it does, but at least you can download a game.
I bought Ninja Gaiden Black on an Xbox 360, I'm going to say, when they made it available. And then within 2 years, I was no longer able to find that in the Xbox store. And I didn't have it downloaded.
If you download that game, they're not going to remove it from your hard drive, though, are they? You won't be able to really download it.
No, but it's the problem with the digital service. I could have that disc. I could take care of my disc. If something happens to my console and I need to refresh it, that game is now gone. There's no way I can get that game back.
I feel like this is just another step in that negative direction, where it's not even to do with how you look after, or it's entirely to do with licenses. So, for example, car games or sports games, they're going to be very susceptible to licensing problems. And obviously, in theory, it would take years for these problems to occur. But what if you purchase a driving game on Stadia, and within 6 months an agreement of the licenses falls through? You can no longer stream that game. Why would you pay full price for that?
No, I mean,
it does open some questions to the bigger world of licensing and gaming and discs versus digital downloads. I think that's why Xbox One was kind of a very big problem at the initial stage, because it seemed to be kind of digital only, and that's what they're focusing on, and they hadn't really addressed these problems.
But I mean, you could argue that's the case with most modern games. I mean, one of the things we mentioned last week is there's so many games that are games as a service now that are practically completely online.
Yeah.
I own a copy of Destiny, but if they shut down the service tomorrow, I am not going to be able to play Destiny.
Oh, I agree, but at least you have an avenue or a possibility of purchasing from a large library of games that can function offline or without the service. But this just seems like an extreme case.
Yeah, you're right, but at the same time, games are a weird medium in that once I have played through, I will probably not revisit it.
Probably not, but there is a large audience that will.
I would say it's very small in the grand scheme of things. I don't think the reason this is not a bigger issue is because people do not give a shit. I think games are more disposable than any other form of media, in terms of they age out. Games that are seen as technical marvels and cutting edge, 5 years down the line, and maybe even less time, they are inferior on a technical point of view.
That's on a game by game basis. I guess the only way we'll find out what would happen is when it does happen. You know.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure there will be a first kind of
I think lessons can only be happened when somebody takes that first step. So it's good that Google are doing it. And yeah, I agree with you, Matt. It's probably not for me, and I don't think it's going to kind of set the future alight in any meaningful way immediately. But I think it will lay the foundation for stuff in the future. And this is kind of how we learn. This is how industries grow. This is how we kind of see where things are working and not working. So yeah.
I mean, case in point, how many Blu-rays or albums have you bought in the last year?
Don't ask me, because I'm not your representation of the average consumer.
Zero. I think
I would say you are. I would say you completely are.
Oh, well, I've purchased plenty of Blu-rays and CDs.
In the last year?
What,
Yeah.
brand new from the chart or second hand?
No, brand new from Amazon or from Bandcamp or from wherever.
Okay, maybe you're not then. Because I'd say the average person is not buying that shit, and I think games have a bigger problem of. I like to buy movies that I really like on Blu-ray to have a copy to keep and watch in the kind of the highest possible quality, so I'm not relying on streaming services. I've bought 2 Blu-rays in the last 2 years. And I like movies. I like movies probably more than the average consumer.
I think one big difference
in the last 10
here,
years,
though,
I could probably count on one hand how many Blu-rays I've bought. But everyone I've bought, like, is kept pristine, and those are movies that I absolutely adore, and I will absolutely watch them in the future. I wanted to kind of have a hard copy as well.
I think one big difference here, though, is these are as a media, these are interactive, therefore playable, therefore input lag. These are factors that don't come into account when you're streaming on Spotify or Netflix. With video games, it is more of an issue.
Even that, there's been mixed feedback. Some people say the game you play, and then on your connection, some people seem to think that there's been significant input lag and it's noticeable. Other people have said, I played Doom and it was fine. And I guarantee
it's what you have to your door as technology. I mean, if you've got fiber optics, in theory, there can't be any input lag. It's literally light. It's just literally the speed of light.
Well, yeah.
I think there is input lag, but it's at a level where if you're sensitive to it, you'd pick it up. If not,
yeah, man.
Put up
are you moving faster than the speed of light?
I am, yeah.
I mean, I think in beat 'em ups and things like that, yeah. But when was beat 'em up was a huge seller? Mortal Kombat 11 a couple of months ago. They're a fairly niche genre. I don't think the average man on the street will notice, and as much as enthusiasts like ourselves tend to dictate or influence trends, because ultimately it's kind of like that trickle down influence. Like we're the ones on
kind of like with the Xbox One, the original launch, yeah.
Yeah, like we tend to keep up to date with the latest happening, less informed, and influence it that way. But that only goes so far. Yeah, I think that honestly, I think that streaming's coming. It's going to be an option. It's not going to be the future, but it'll be a part of the future. I think the biggest risk around Stadia is Google. They develop and push platforms that are massive and often work very well, and then decide one day, we're not asked anymore, and drop them like a stone. Google are the biggest risk of this. I think the technology will work well enough. I think the pricing point will work for enough people. Whether it's Google who take it forward, or as you say, kind of Extreme. Is it Extreme with Xbox? Or
no,
PlayStation
it's
Now.
I can't remember the call.
Not Extreme. xCloud.
xCloud, that's the
one. I think Google are the biggest risk here, because let's face it, what have we had? Google Plus. Is that the social network?
Yeah, that died about a year ago, didn't it?
Yeah.
So
was Google Wave was like a Skype style thing?
Yeah, there's been various hit and misses.
There's
and
been
it's part of business, just seeing what stakes through.
But
they've got the money to do that, man.
But the thing is, these weren't necessarily failures. A lot of them were just like experiments that they decided to call time on, and people were using them, and they pulled the rug out.
Yeah, so you think that if this doesn't hit the ground running, there's a possibility of them pulling the plug?
Given Google's track record, I think if it does hit the ground running, they still might turn around 6 months and go, we're changing.
Yeah.
Like you say, Cash, these guys have got money to fucking burn. They could sacrifice like $100 million division just because they don't feel like it anymore. It doesn't fit in with their strategic vision anymore. Honestly, I think out of everything with Stadia, Google are the biggest risk. And invest, like you say, Matty, kind of, you're investing money because there's, I suppose if you split down the argument even more, there is the idea that you're paying a subscription, and if you stop paying, you lose access to that kind of Netflix of games style roster. It's a bit like Game Pass on Xbox.
Game Pass, yeah.
Which is amazing value for the pound trial that you can pick up. And that is what it is. You pay the subscription, you stop paying, you lose access to those games. Who cares? And to be fair to Google, they've already said that if you do take a break, your save games persist, and if you subscribe in a year's time, you can pick up your save game and carry on. So that's quite nice. If you're going the other route and buying games a la carte on this, so like again, Cyberpunk, I pay £50 to play Cyberpunk in full specs, in 4K, and all the rest of it, and Google pulls the plug, I lose it, like you're saying. But it's not like it's weird. There's one thing for like licensing deals to fall out, and I think when it comes to things like that, it's normally a case of, well, there's not an audience to care enough about this to keep these things going. But if Google just has a change of heart, and you've purchased games and have like a library on this platform, you're losing it. And it is what you were saying before,
I just think there's a lot of question marks around this Stadia,
I think there's definitely going to be a future for this stuff. It's like you guys have both said, it's not for you guys, it's not for me really. I might dabble with it. I don't think I'm going to, though, not up front at least. I
think for me, if it takes off, I'll definitely try and check it out. Maybe get a trial version, play it at home, see what it looks like, and then take it from there. But like I said, we're not really investing anything. It's just one to watch, just to see where it goes.
Yeah, and I mean, to bring this back to the news story that came out about this is Google Stadia is completely new. There's a lot of mixed feelings about it in terms of performance, experience, the whole argument and debate around ownership of media. I've got a big question mark over how well this will perform. As I mentioned before, I've heard mixed things. Some people saying you can feel it's got lag, and other people saying, nope, Doom is frame perfect. There's going to be no beta test for this at all.
Yeah. I know they've done some testing because people were testing Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and they got a free
trial. There was some browser testing, I think. Yeah.
Project, it was about this time last year, or was it? No,
but I agree. There's no like rollout of a beta or no open beta testing, so it's pretty risky, pretty ballsy.
I wonder as well, because obviously with this, America being the huge market it is for gaming and for Google as well. When this releases in America, the problems, the publicity that will be generated through either YouTube videos that highlight bad internet connection, showing the image quality deteriorating because it can't be held up, or input lag because blah blah blah. I wonder if the perception of Stadia will, with the casuals, as we call them, will just completely deteriorate quickly because the lesser people, because you think of how the Xbox One launch went, and whereas hardcore gamers, is again we'll call them that, the more enthusiastic gaming people, the negativity of their reaction towards the Xbox One's policies was what led the general image of the Xbox brand to tank. This could happen with Stadia in a similar way, that when it launches, there are problems, especially in America, where we know there are bandwidth limits and problems with the speeds of internet. All the potential problems that would come with that would then leak out into the general perception of Stadia, and you could end up with a shit show,
Oh, completely. I mean, to me, this says one of two things, and it's hard to gauge which without any hands-on experience with Stadia. This tells me that Google are incredibly confident that they have a product that works and that will impress people, and they fuck it, we don't need to test this. We've done enough before we revealed Stadia as a platform. We're happy. Or We are fucking worried about this. We should not give people free access to it. We should let them pay up front, let them subscribe and invest in a service that isn't quite there, and we will work out.
Yeah.
And again, I don't know which way to take it, because again, Google, you said before, Cash, they've got some winners and some losers. It's hard to tell what you're going to get with Google, especially with something that is so kind of new frontier on such a grand scale. I mean, the new story that I'm lead of the Stadia division in Google. He basically said, look, we don't need a test. So the article reads, geographically, the US is the most complex place to test just because of the size of the country. And actually Europe, and particularly the UK, are relatively easier to launch. So we are not going to do another test in UK or Europe. If we had time, we probably would have done so, but we don't need to. So it seems like they are committed to November. They don't have time to plan this. They're just going to go for it. Yeah. I just thought it was interesting because we hadn't spoken about Stadia really, and very strong opinions on it. Who's going to use it, whether it's going to be a success or not, all the rest of it. But again, Google either are very worried about early access, because a common trend seems to be, especially in games, that if you do not give people access to something up front, is it because you are trying to hide the fact? At the same time,
maybe they're not too sure. Maybe they know that best case scenario, the streaming does work competitively for most people, but maybe they can't. There's nothing they can do to fix the problem that across, for example, America, there is going to be millions of players that get a very poor experience using it, and they can't test their way out of that,
Literally, the only thing they could do is Google Fiber, and didn't they stop doing that in America? Like literally rolling out their own network structure across America, and I'm pretty sure Google Fiber is a dead initiative. It's in some cities and stopped at that.
It's not just the speed as well; it's the bandwidth across there. They've got a complete shit show of an infrastructure. You know what I mean? So you could be playing a game for about 10 hours, and then that would be your month used up.
Oh, completely. I just thought it was interesting that they weren't doing a test. I wasn't sure what the message that sent. I think up front it says, it's fine, it's going to work fine, it's okay, everything's all right.
It's definitely interesting to see what happens with it. Like I say, there's just a sneaking suspicion with me that this could possibly be a complete shit show, and if it is, it'll be entertaining anyway. So,
yeah.
But I agree with the point that streaming will be a big option in the future. I think that's inevitable. That's why Microsoft are trying to chase down the same golden goose.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be one, and it's what Phil Spencer said at E3. It's going to be kind of one pillar of gaming going forward. Yeah. It's not going to be the only thing propping us up, though. Yeah. So that rounds out the news that I had. Now, there's one last thing. We did a top 10 E3 trailers last week. So I've got another top 10, probably a little less special, probably a bit more every day, but might be fun regardless. Oh, God, looking at it, it's maybe not, actually. So I've got the UK chart in front of me for games sold.
Right.
And there are 10 games on here, but I'm going to tell you off the bat, there are at least, there are 2 duplicates. One duplicate takes up 2 slots. Another duplicate takes up 3 slots.
I think I know the one that takes up 3 slots. I'm guessing.
It's probably it's a franchise that is particularly popular in the UK. Or was proved to be a few years ago.
It's Crash Team Racing.
Yeah. Can you guess what slot it takes up 3 slots? Can you guess what slots it takes up?
Oh, 1, 2, and 3.
No, actually.
Oh man.
It takes up 2, 5, and 6. So there's.
It's not number 1.
No, it's not. So Crash Team Racing on the PS4 is number 2. It's number 5 on the Switch, and in last place there's the Xbox One. Now, the top one isn't really surprising, but this chart is from the 29th of June, and I believe it actually came out on the 29th of June. I could be wrong there, but I think that was when it came out.
Oh, Bloodstained.
No, that's not even on the top 10.
What the hell came out?
So I'll be honest, the UK chart is a fucking weird mess of odd games that you wouldn't necessarily expect to still be there.
We had GTA 5 for the
It's not actually. I was expecting it to be up there when I looked at this.
I think that dropped off as well.
Hey mate,
Mario Maker 2. Mario Maker 2. Yeah,
that's number one. So yeah, that came out has sold, what is it, twice as good as it did on the Wii U.
Well, that's not difficult.
Well, I mean, yeah, people actually have the Switch, so that makes sense. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 other titles, and I think Cash, you might have mentioned
Red Dead Redemption.
Yep, that's still hanging on there at number 10. Got some legs, not as much as GTA 5, but got some legs.
Together. I feel like a FIFA is going to be in there.
It's not, which is again has surprised me. It's probably at that point where we're as far away from a FIFA release as possible. So
is Formula 1 up there?
It is. It's 3 and 4. So that's the other duplicate. PS4 leading the way at number 3, and Xbox at number 4. So basically, we've got Super Mario Maker 2, Crash Team Racing on the PS4, Formula 1 on the PS4, Formula 1 on the on the Xbox One, Crash Team Racing on the Switch, Crash Team Racing on the Xbox. Number 7 is not been mentioned yet. Number 8 is not a new game, but again, it's one of these titles that just refuses to budge. Number 9 is how to describe it? It is a platform exclusive, which is much beloved and sells pretty well. And in this one in particular has sold very well.
So is it a Switch or a Nintendo exclusive? Number 9.
It is, yes.
Okay. Miami's help.
It's not new.
Mario Kart.
Mario Kart's number 8.
No. Oh, fucking hell.
Super Mario Odyssey?
It's not actually. It's a bit newer than that. It's not just Nintendo characters in this game.
Oh, Smash?
Yeah, Smash. Yeah. Yeah. So just having a look. Smash was number 10 last month, and it's gone back up to number 9 this month. Fucking hell. Mario Kart number 8 was at number 8 last month. There is only one game on this list that you have not named, and it is linked to a long-running franchise. It's Japanese, kind of a spiritual successor to the Shenmue series, I believe.
Oh, Yakuza. Sorry, it's called. It's the new Yakuza spin-off. I can't remember the name of it.
Kiwami.
Knowledge or something.
It's Judgment. It's called Project Judge during development. It's where you play as a former lawyer turned detective set in the Yakuza universe. I've never played an Yakuza game, but I hear they're good, and I think they're actually very good as well.
Yeah, this one seems decent as well.
So yeah, Super Mario Maker, Crash Team Racing, Judgment, Mario Kart 8, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, Red Dead Redemption. Yeah, Nintendo sell a lot of games, and PlayStation 4 seems to be the place to play multi-platform games. That's basically what that tells me. The
UK love the Sony, don't they?
Yeah, this island has been dominated by them for a long time. I mean, I'm not going to make you guess them because I would never guess half of these things. But I've got the Japanese chart as well, and it's fucking bizarre. It's like it's a complete different story.
It is, isn't it?
Other than the Nintendo stuff. So number 1, and this is only something I'm vaguely aware of as a franchise, but it's Yokai Watch 4, Bakura wa Onijikara, or Miyagi
That did not
Tale.
take off over here the way anywhere near like it did in Japan.
The only reason I know what Yokai Watch is there's been frequent crossover events in Final Fantasy over the years.
I'm sure there was one game that was released on the 3DS that just didn't.
I think it's had games over here, but it's not a franchise. It's a very Japanese franchise. So yeah, that's number 1. Number 2 is Yakuza 5. 3 is Doraemon Story of Seasons. Which is I have no fucking clue. Is that Digimon I doubt it. I doubt it. I have no idea what it is. Smash Brothers is number 4. Minecraft is number 5. On the Switch, I should point out. These have all been Switch except Yakuza on PS4. Mario Kart 8 is number 6. Breath of the Wild at number 7. Jesus.
Mm.
Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee at number 8. Splatoon 2 at number 9. That's fucking hanging. I mean, Splatoon is an institution in Japan. They fucking love it.
Japan love their portable gaming.
Oh yeah.
Really do,
I mean,
yeah.
the top 10 is not DS games. It's Switch games and an Yakuza 5. And number 10 is New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe.
Which is the
U
best one
Deluxe?
of those games. Yeah.
It's the one on the Switch. It's still called U because it's basically a special edition of the Wii U version.
Oh, I was like, God damn, they're buying the Wii U still.
America seems far more representative of like what I would consider the gaming zeitgeist in terms of it's a mix of like the gaming zeitgeist and what sells, like from a more corporate perspective. So their top 10 is Mortal Kombat 11. Theirs is a little bit better as well because it combines platforms rather than ours, which has individual SKUs. So it's Mortal Kombat 11, Days Gone, Total War 3 Kingdoms, Rage 2, Grand Theft Auto 5, Smash Bros. Ultimate, Red Dead Redemption 2, MLB The Show, which I believe is baseball, Major League Baseball The Show, Minecraft, and then NBA. So they like the sports games as well, but they are very much American sports games.
I'm guessing this is before Crash Team Racing came out, the American one.
It's May. That's the last time that
I was going to say, how the fuck is Rage 2 still up there?
Yeah, that seems to have kind of come out and been forgotten already. So yeah, I just thought that was a nice little top 10. I have no idea if I'll be able to sustain these top 10, so I'm going to have to come up with some. My intention is that do some kind of quiz or challenge or something that I can ask you guys questions. So we'll see how I can keep that up. It's a lot to prepare. So yeah, that's us out of news, out of things that I was going to talk about. We're still on the boil. Oh, you guys had enough and you want to get the fuck out of here?
There's not much to say other than I saw
really.
there's another kind of leak of I think it's an accessory for the Nintendo Switch Mini. So we know that's definitely coming soon. I'm hoping it'll just be a better form factor version of what we've already got. Maybe it's with because I'm not expecting to have any upgrades in it.
No, I'm not. I expect it to be slightly smaller, Joy-Con, and not come with a dock, but be dockable if you've already got one.
Dockable, yeah.
I think we'll get a Switch big boy version next year, maybe.
It better be called the big boy version.
It better be, yeah. The chunk.
The Switch big boy.
The Switch chunk. That's what I want. Yeah, cool. Okay then. We said this was going to be a short night. I think it is a little bit, not by much. So thanks for listening, everybody. We'll get the fuck out of here now. So if you want to get in touch, give us a shout on Twitter at plasticmoon4.com, at plasticmoon4 on Twitter. Jesus Christ. And you can also email us at thepad@plasticmoon.net. So if you've got anything you want us to talk about, just send something in. And we should be, by the time this goes up, I'm hoping we're going to be on iTunes, so you can subscribe to us there. And we're trying to get on other platforms as well, so we'll keep that updated as well. So other than that, thanks guys, and thanks for listening, and we'll be back next week.